Okay, let's try again. Okay, we're live for Daily Live. I don't know what just happened, but we just had some fun technical issues that have been resolved. And I want to get stuck in because I'm running late now. The irony of me wearing this bright blue t-shirt today and what I'm going to share with you. I never wear bright colors, not this bright anyway, probably for this very simple reason. And ironically, kind of had a message that I wanted to share with you based on what I have discovered when people focus in on this thing. And when you focus in on this, you become unhappy, you become miserable, and things never seem to go your way in life. Now, you might see I'm over here wearing this bright blue t-shirt. Now, if I said to you, can you see that little, if you're watching, can you see that little dot on my t-shirt right there? Yeah. So what happened right here is I was cooking just about 20 minutes ago, pouring some olive oil, and a drop just came and splashed on my t-shirt. And what I'm left with is this bright blue t-shirt with this little mark in the middle. Now, I could have changed this t-shirt if I really cared before I did this live video, but it actually gave me a message that I wanted to share with you today. And that message is, if you keep focusing on that, right, you can see right there, that little dot. The message is this: how often in life, when something in our life isn't going great, we focus our attention on that small detail and we take away from all the good things that are happening in our life. Just like this t-shirt, I've got this bright blue t-shirt that would have looked kind of cool had I not got that little splash of oil on it, right? But this is what happens. We want to end up focusing on that little dot, that little stain, that little black dot, whatever it is, that little mark in your life. And then you just take away from all the amazing color, the beauty, the greatness that is in your life. And it's just a thing that we all do. We self-sabotage. We look at what we don't have and we compare to what we would like to have. And we're never happy because we are focusing on the dot, as Karina has said on Facebook. She said, now I'm focusing on the dot, right? That's what happens in life. Before I mentioned that dot on my t-shirt, you guys would have just seen me wearing this bright blue t-shirt, but now you know that there is a dot. You can't help but keep looking at the dot, especially as I keep pointing at the dot, right? And now your focus and your attention is away from what I'm saying or what I'm doing, or this bright blue t-shirt, or this quote behind me, or these, words, or these inspirational wisdom that is all around you. And now you're focusing on this dot, because that's what you do in life. When things aren't going your way, when things are hard, when you hit a crossroad, when you hit a roadblock, when things aren't working out, you focus on the bad things and you forget about the good things. You stop being grateful for what you have and you start looking at what you don't have, and then you become unhappy and miserable. And then you forget that there is lots of great things in your life, that there are lots of good things, but you're just too busy focusing on what you don't have. So when you stop focusing on the black dot, the mark, the bad thing is happening in your life, and you start focusing on how great your life is, or the fact that you have fresh running water from your taps, or you have access to food, you have a roof over your head, when you start being grateful for the simple things that you have rather than what you don't have, you start to be happy. You start to be content. You stop comparing yourself to other people and comparing what you don't have, and start focusing on what you do have, which will then bring more of what you want in your life. You see, when you focus on what you don't want, you attract more of what you don't want. When you focus on what you do want, you will start to attract that. So if you focus on the good things in your life, the great things that you're fortunate to have, the things you're grateful for, you're going to attract more things to be grateful for. If you focus on the negativity, the bad things, the struggles, the challenges, how hard life is, the black dot, if you keep focusing on that, you're probably going to go and spill another drink on your t-shirt, because that's what life does. Life gives you what you focus on. So instead of just going and complaining or moaning that things aren't going your way, or things are hard, or you're not happy, start focusing on what you do have. And that little process in itself, that thing we call gratitude, that little act of being grateful for what you have, will make you so much happier. Period. You'll just live a much happier life. And it sounds so easy, right? It sounds easy. Oh yeah, I'm just going to focus on the things I like, the things I've got, and I'm going to be happy. Well, don't just do it for a day. Do it every single day. Do it especially on the days that you don't feel good, on the days that you are having a bad day, because those are the days that you need to be focusing on what you do have, the things that you're grateful for, in order to stay happy. So ironically, this message today was completely random, having just got this oil stain on my t-shirt 20 minutes ago, but I thought it would serve a great story today, because I think so many times in life we look at what we don't have, we look at the things that aren't good, and then we become unhappy, and then we wonder why we're not happy, why we're not motivated, why we're not driven. And it's because of this very simple thing. It's this very thing that you are sitting there focusing on the misfortunes, the unluckiness that you might feel you have, and then you go and create more of that. So stop focusing on the crap, the shit, the stuff you don't like. Start focusing on what you do like, what you're happy with, what you're grateful for. And life is going to show you more things to be grateful for. Just a rule of life, just a great rule of life, of the universe, of God, of whatever you believe. That's what you're going to be rewarded with. So that's my message for you today. If you got any questions, let's go into the chat. So just before I jumped on, this was quite funny. My computer froze, my phone froze, just complete kind of, technical errors. And, that's going to happen when you do these kind of live videos. Things are going to fall apart, and there's going to be times when things don't work out. But I didn't give up and just say, oh, I'm not going to do a live today, or complain. I just carried on because, I made that commitment, and I'm just going to show up. So hope today's message was helpful. Corbett says, amen. Amen to you. And this message today, hope this message resonated. Karina's asking on Facebook, do you know how to get rid of this oil stain? You don't want to mess up your nice t-shirt. Well, maybe some salt. I don't know. That might work. Or maybe I'll stick it in the wash and see if that works. Or maybe I'll just keep the t-shirt with this oil stain, because it, brings some character to the t-shirt. Who knows? But it is what it is. Has anyone got any questions before I jump off? Any questions that aren't related to the t-shirt or the oil stain, about your happiness? Just want to say hello to everybody, wherever you're watching. I see people. I see you. What's going on, Emmanuel? I see people here on Facebook. Adam. No? All right. So same time tomorrow. Every day, Monday to Friday, 2:59 UK time. Actually, I see a question. Okay, Karina's got a good question, a question that I can answer. What's going on, James? How did you start focusing on good things? That's a good question. It's kind of easier said than done, right? It's easy just to say, yeah, focus on good things, because that's what's going to make you happy. But it has to become a practice. It has to become a routine, just like working out, right? Like those of you who train and work out, it becomes part of who you are. And it's like a non-negotiable thing, right? If I said you're not going to train for 3 months, you'd be like, no way. But if I said to you, don't do your gratitude or be grateful for 3 months, you'll be like, oh, that's easy. I've been doing that my whole life, right? So you have to create a routine around that. It has to become like a habit, something that you do consistently every morning, right? We call that in the PT Academy. We got this one from one of my mentors, a morning formula, where you write down, so you read your goals, you visualize what you want, but then you also go and write down the things you're grateful for, right? So when you focus on those things, and when you get into the ritual, the practice of doing that, over time, you'll get better at it. And I remember the very first time I bought a journal, and it was like a gratitude journal, and it just says, write down 3 things you're grateful for every day. And some days I'd sit there and I'd be scratching my head like, what should I write down today? I don't know what I'm grateful for. And that's just it. It forces you to think about the things you're grateful for and write them down. It can be anything. The fact that you have a bed to sleep on, you've got air to breathe, you've got arms and legs that you can use if you're fortunate enough. The smallest things you start to focus on and be grateful for. But by sitting there and giving yourself a few minutes to write them down, you start to think and you start to focus on the things you're grateful for and the things that you have in your life. And over time, getting the reps in, focusing on doing that consistently, it'll become easier to focus on them because you have started to build that muscle, that getting the reps and the practice of doing it. And over time, it will become more habitual. Over on Instagram, James is asking, what were your biggest distractions typically when you set up your PT business? It's a good question, man. Biggest distractions were social media. Biggest distraction still is social media, right? We're so distracted by what other people are doing, and then we stop focusing on ourselves. Biggest distraction is looking at what other people are doing and not focusing on what you can control, because you can't control what other people are doing. You can't control what other people have access to, their resources, their money, but you can control the work that you put in and the time that you invest. And so if you are putting time and attention on other people that have no influence over your success, you're going to take away the power that you have, and you're going to self-sabotage yourself from moving forward because you're going to be comparing to what you don't have. And so I'd say social media, consuming social media is one of the biggest distractions, but being a content creator or a producer on social media is one of the biggest advantages that you can create, because it's a free platform to get your message out to people around the world. That's my that's the one thing I can say to that, James. I hope that helps. Corbett is asking, when was the last time you felt low? What helped you get through it? Oh, that's a good question. Corbett. Is it Corbett or Corbett? Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name properly. Last time I felt low, what helped me through it? That's a really tough question. I'm really trying to think when I last felt low, or an experience I had when I felt low. I'll tell you actually, a true story. On lockdown last year, I had this moment, Corbett. Okay, so I had this moment where I got up one day and I was really dizzy, and I don't know why. I stood up and my body was like started to shake, and I thought something was wrong. So I started kind of like worrying about myself and went to doctors, got some blood tests, and after that moment, I was always really worried to stand up because of what happened. And it was just really random, because I think it was like a blood sugar level imbalance. Maybe I stood up too quickly and my body like just wanted to shut down. It felt like I was going to black out. And so after that, I was in this state of worrying that every time I stand up, I might black out or might fall over or something might happen to me. And what I did to get through that, and I could say I felt somewhat low in that time because I felt kind of weak. I felt somewhat helpless in that this is something I can't control. But what helped me get through it was just disconnecting from what was happening and realizing that it's in my mind, realizing that it's something that I can control. And it's a thought that I was overthinking about and obsessing about and creating worry and panic around something that ended up being nothing to be concerned with. Because once I even had the blood test back and everything was fine, I still was having those thoughts. But by focusing on the fact that I'm in control of my thoughts, this is just a feeling, it's not real. And focusing on what I do have, on the things that I can do, and the fact that I was being more grateful in those moments for the fact that nothing is wrong, that everything was good. I was able to get through that. And so again, just being grateful for whatever you have, where you are, especially in those moments where you are feeling low, because there are going to be moments where you are feeling low, but I can guarantee you that there are going to be things in your life that you can still be grateful for. There's always something to be grateful for. If you have running water right now, if you have a bed to sleep on, a roof over your head, as I said, you can be grateful, because there's people in the world that don't have that. There's people in the world who aren't fortunate to have some of the things that we have. The fact that you can be on social media and connect to people all around the world. So you just have to really look at what you do have and focus on that. And that's what's going to make you happier. Where to start? Karina is asking. Where to start? Just by opening a journal and or book or a piece of paper or other, or notes on your phone, and just taking 5 minutes in the morning and just writing down just 3 things. Like what am I grateful for today? And just answering that question and just writing them down and just thinking about them as well. Not just writing them, but actually like thinking and feeling the things that you're grateful for. Now, again, it's not something that is going to be easy at first. It's like when you first go to the gym, you go, you might train, you don't feel the muscles that you're working, right? Like you push the weights because that's what you know you need to do. You don't think about contracting your bicep or flexing your tricep or, contracting the muscles. You think about just doing the movement. But over time, the more repetitions that you go through, over time, you develop the muscle to be able to contract the muscle to think about it, right? Same thing happens with being grateful and writing things down and really putting time into this. Over time, you'll get better at feeling the emotions that you feel and thinking about the things that you're grateful for. And so that's what's going to build the muscle of getting good at it. That's where to start. It just takes 5 minutes. It's just a discipline like anything that you have to put into it. Corbett is asking another question. What was your breaking point? What made you begin to realize you need to change your thought process? Wow, these are some deep questions. I like them. The biggest breaking point, what made you realize, that you need to change your thought process? I think for me, it was limiting beliefs. The thing that made me realize I need to change the way I was thinking was the limiting beliefs I had around what I could do in my life, whether it's how much money I can make or what I could become or where I could live or what I could have. It was limiting beliefs based on where I grew up and the hardship and the struggles and what I personally identified with based on what I was exposed to. And for me, it was a realization that something needed to change. The biggest realization for me was when my dad died when I was 21 years old and I was in my last year of uni. Now, it was quite a tough year mentally because it was very unexpected. He had a stroke and it kind of made me start to, again, be more grateful about life and realize that we don't have unlimited time here. And so we need to make the most of the time we do have. And that moment was a crossroad for me because it made me realize I need to grow up. I need to take responsibility. I need to do something in my life that's going to, make an impact in mine, my family's and other people's. If I really want to, make a difference. And that for me, I think was probably the biggest breaking point to force me to start thinking differently about life, about what I want to be doing, who I want to be, what I want to have, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Karina's saying, I do get frustrated with other people's success. It's my problem. Karina, it's something that we like, and that's, she's talking about there, looking at other people, maybe on social media and comparing. It's something that we can still control. The amount of people I have unfollowed on social media, the amount of people I have unfriended, removed from my life, for that very reason was something that I was conscious about, because when I was bodyboarding and I was competing, I was in this world where everybody looks great, where everybody's ripped, everybody's lean, and somebody's bigger than you, leaner than you, and you're never happy, no matter how good you look. And it's funny because I'll post up on my Instagram stories later. I was just like, I get hit with this time 5 years ago, you were doing this or whatever it was. And it showed some pictures of me, how the amazing shape I was in before I was competing. And I was like, wow, I never looked at myself like I looked, like I was never grateful for what I looked like back then when I saw these pictures and I saw myself. And it's because I was always looking at what other people look like and going, oh, I'm not big enough, I'm not lean enough, and I'm not this, I'm not that. But then when I look back now, I think I'm such an idiot for thinking that back then, right? I was thinking, what was I thinking to think that I wasn't, good enough or, physically, whatever I was thinking back then. And the reason why I was taking away from my own success is because I was too busy focusing on other people who knows what they could be taking or what they could be using, right? Things that I couldn't control, how many years they've been training. Same thing in business, right? And financial success. It's like, you don't know what people have been doing behind the scenes, how long they've been trying and failing. And so you're just seeing the success. You're just seeing the tip of the iceberg and you're comparing to what they have, but you didn't see everything else that's gone into it. And so you can't compare because everybody's story is different. Everybody's got different struggles and challenges. And we have to not look at them as a comparison point. Look at them for inspiration. Look at them for motivation. This is what I can have. This is what is achievable. And that's what I started to do. I started to look at what other people have that I haven't and go, wow, like this is possible. If a young guy can do it, if a young girl can do it, if they can do it, so can I. And that is what I started to do. I started to focus and be grateful that, hey, they're doing this, therefore it's possible. Right? That's the thing. If you've seen someone's got something that you haven't got, it means it's possible. It means it's been done before. So just a reframe of how you think about other people's success. Instead of looking at it and saying, oh, I haven't got what they've got, start looking at it saying, great, I can get that too. If they can have it, why can't I? And that's what I started doing. Yeah, thank you for your time today, Corbett. Thank you for joining. James, last one, and I'm going to jump off. I'm going to read, is it a question? I'm going to read it anyway. I always feel like I'm too late to everything I'm doing in my business, but recently, having not compared myself to anyone else but my mood has improved loads. Absolutely. The thing with that, James, as I said, is I said that I did this on a story the other day on Instagram, was when we start going, I wish I started this thing soon. I wish I started YouTube 12 years ago. I wish I got on Instagram when it started. Funny enough, I actually was, not early to Instagram, but I've been on it since 2012 or 11. But I wish I put more effort into it. I wish I did this. Like, hindsight is such a B, right? Because you're like, you can always wish what you could have, should have, would have, had a, but we can't change the past. We can only change what we do right now. And so if you just commit now to be that day one to doing the thing that you want to do, then you'll be looking back in 5 years from now. Every time Instagram reminds me of something I was doing X amount of years ago, I look back and I'm like, why didn't I just keep that going? Why didn't I stick to that? There were different reasons at the time, life situation, circumstances, passion. But if you just stick to that thing long enough, eventually the things that you want to have will come into fruition. And that's the thing. There's no right or wrong time except right now. And if you just focus on starting today, whatever that day is for you, whether it is putting more effort into your social media, whether it is acquiring some new skills, whatever that thing is, just putting the time in from now, and then look back in 5 years, and then you'll see where you've come. There's never going to be a perfect time except the time you make the decision. And then when you make the decision, it's about not looking back and thinking, what if only, because everybody is going to have the same feelings of what if. What if I had properly launched my fitness business? Like, I wrote my first ebook in 2012, 2013. What if I properly learned how to market and sell that? Probably would have been a different story. So you can always look back and think, what if I'd started training when I was 5 years old? How much bigger and leaner I would have been, right? We always wish we would have done something sooner. But we can't change the past. We can only change what we do today and therefore influence the future. So focus on what you can, ignore what you can't, and life is going to be good. That's what I got for you today. Thanks for jumping on. This was a super long live. Wow. Okay, these are going on. But I enjoyed it. I enjoy the questions. Keep them coming. Same time tomorrow, 2:59 UK time, 9:59 a.m. EST. And bring your questions or just come and hang out. That's what I like to do every day of the week now. So yeah, appreciate you joining, and see you guys tomorrow.